Review copy provided by PlayStation.
Yo, the Gran Turismo 7 review ain't done yet. Review copy provided by PlayStation. Brad was sport to jump in here with me.
Yeah.
Because you say, like, even though you're not really big on Gran Turismo in the past, you're interested in checking this one out.
Yeah, I've watched Gran Turismo from afar, especially through Mike playing it over the years. It was always a series I was kind of intimidated to get into, but it's looking real enticing to me now for some reason.
Yeah, I do think that this one is more accessible in terms of just kind of like really walking you through like all of the different features and things. I think that it's still Gran Turismo. It's still a simulator at heart. It's still about learning how to, how to drive well and how to go around corners.
Yeah, I think that's what's interesting to me too, is because I've never really done that so much. So it's like a whole different thing I've never tapped into before.
Yeah, and so I will say, overall impression is positive for sure.
Oh, good.
Like on the technical level and a performance level, it's really stunning. Like
Showpiece.
It's always like, it's just like when it's one of those things where like, they definitely like prioritize performance.
Yeah.
So that like even in like the ray tracing mode, which I haven't checked out, but like they're saying like even in the ray tracing mode, like ray tracing's still only being used for like replays and things like that. It's not being used in gameplay.
Actual racing.
They're really prioritizing putting like the frame rate as high as they can get in racing. On the other hand, the user interface and game progression kind of get in their own way a little bit.
Okay.
And so, like, kind of, if people are familiar with Gran Turismo, I think they'll be familiar with some of this in that sense that, like, the way that the menus and stuff are designed, it feels sort of like an old school, like, CD-ROM encyclopedia. It's just like tapping the mouse cursor on things and finding where things are sometimes is a little weird. One of the things that I just got a chuckle out of, and this is like one like little thing that won't even make it into the actual review, is so when you first start, they introduce you to this new mode like called Music Rally. Before you do anything else, you do like this Music Rally thing, and the idea is that like you just try to get as far as you can through the track before the song ends.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And then as soon as that finishes, this pop-up comes up, this little window that's like, you can now play Gran Turismo 7. Okay. And then another pop-up window comes up. Would you like to play Gran Turismo 7? Yes or no?
Yes. Aren't I already playing it?
And then you push yes, and then there's like the 7-minute like opening movie.
Oh my, 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Jeez.
And it's like, it's got like all of this old archival footage. The Beatles are in there. Just like, it goes through like the history of like,
whoa, that's
everything that was going on in the
cool.
world for as long as like cars have existed.
Wow.
And then somewhere halfway through, like it kicks into like the music and like actual Gran Turismo footage and stuff. But a lot of it is just like black and white footage and craziness like that. And so like a lot of Gran Turismo is sort of like this virtual museum experience. So once you unlock Brand Central, which is the area where you go to buy new cars, the brands not only take you to dealership, but they also have like all of these like YouTube videos and historical documents and photographs and like all of that kind of thing.
Sounds dense, packed with like information. Like I imagine if you're such like a car fan, this has got to be great.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. So like they really want to like get people
celebrate
to like
the
really
history.
love like automotives. Other weird like UI things. The Music Rally thing I told you about. For some reason, it's not part of the main menu. So like everything that you do in this game, for the most part, is on this map. And so it looks like a little Sims map. And it's like, okay, it's like over here's the car wash, and over here's the tuning shop, and over here's the multiplayer. And you just go to a little spot on the map. Music Rally, for whatever reason, is not part of any of that. You back out to the title screen, and then there's like World Map or Music Rally.
That's super weird.
And it's really strange for something that like there's only like 6 or 7 events anyways. And so it's like, why didn't you just integrate this somewhere
that
in
seems
the world
weird.
map? Other thing that's weird is the process of picking a car sometimes feels unintuitive. So like your garage, and you said like you get in a car and then you can go to a race. And then for a lot of events, like yes, you can change your car when you go to start a race, but it can be in different places. Like sometimes, like as soon as you pop up at like a bigger like campaign event, there'll be a clear button that says change car. But then when you go to like time trials or trials, that button isn't there. Then you like load up the thing, and then under settings there will be a change car button. But then other modes, you go to that same setting screen and there's no change car there. You have to go back out, change your car somewhere else, and then go back in.
Seems like kind of inconsistent.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like little inconsistencies like that. It's just like it just feels like you're fighting the UI to find things. It's like there's this. They told me in the review guide. They told me about there's this like they have this like alternate cockpit view, to where like you get a sense of like how the car is moving more. So it's a little bit. It probably could make some people more motion sick.
Yeah.
But the car sways more and stuff like that. The only way to find that cockpit option is from the pause menu after you've started a race. If you
Only
go through
after?
if you go through all the other options, the main options menu, it's not in there. If you go to the settings menu before you start a race, it's not in there. It's just like after you start a race, pause, then go there, and then find and it doesn't even really explain what it is. It's just like cockpit wobbling or something like that, type 1 or type 2.
It's like, okay.
It's like, okay.
Not very descriptive, yeah.
But yeah, so those are weird little nitpicks. But they speak to like a broader sense of just it gets in the way of itself sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. The main campaign though is driven by this new feature that I really like, where it's all centered around this cafe.
I love the cafe.
Yeah,
I've seen that in the thing. It looks so cozy.
Yeah, so this is basically, at first it feels like just a tutorial, and in a way it kind of is, but it's a tutorial that like stretches like through the whole breadth of the game. And so when you go to the cafe, you'll get like this little menu book, right? And it'll look like when you're in like some fancy restaurant.
Oh, like the menu or something.
And it's like okay, and like on one side it'll have like your options, and on the other side it'll have like what your mission is. And a lot of the menu book missions are things that are just like collect these 3 cars, and they'll be specifically like Japanese FF cars or European hot hatches or things like that. And then to actually collect those cars, those are the gift cards that you get from competing in certain events.
Oh, okay.
And so anything that is related to your cafe mission, your current cafe mission, will have like this little yellow compass on it. So you can know like exactly where do I need to go on the world map, what event do I need to go to.
Okay.
And then you can kind of, go through all of your cafe missions that way. Okay. And that's the thing. And I'm like, I think I'm like halfway through. I'm like on mission 17 or something like that. But it doesn't just take you through like the campaign races and that kind of thing. It also introduces you to every little feature of the game. So,
okay.
So when you unlock the tuning shop, they're like, okay, go and buy some things, tune up your car. That's a cafe mission. So you do that, you go back to the cafe.
Would you say someone like me, it eases you into the world of Gran Turismo and just kind of teaches the rope pretty well?
Yeah, it teaches you the ropes. There's a feature called Scapes. Which it's just a bit like a photography mode.
Oh.
And so they have like 2,500 different backgrounds. Like these photographs from like these amazing places all over the world. And you take any of your cars from your garage and you stick them in the photo, and then they even teach you all these like really detailed things about photography. There's really advanced stuff with masking and all of that in there.
Jeez.
And again, that's one of your cafe missions is go and do Scapes. But what's really cool, when you finish a mission, you come back and the cafe owner will tell you a little bit about the thing that you just did. So if you're doing like those European hot hatches, they'll give you some background and stuff on it. And what's also cool is whatever car that is currently like you have out of your garage, sometimes there'll be another guy named Chris who will give you some more details about your current car. And then with the right cars, sometimes like they'll actually have like a little commentary, like little storytelling from a guy that actually designed that car.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow.
And there's this one where he was like, he had designed like a Mazda Roadster that I had, and he was talking about this couple had invited him to their wedding because they both met at like this Roadsters club or something. It was just like this cool little thing. And so my two downsides I have of the cafe. Number one is that nothing in this game is VO'd. It's
Kinda
all
strange.
just text. And there's a lot of things in there where it's like, yeah, you don't want everything VO'd because like you go to the used car dealership and there's
Just be
information.
too much,
There's all of these little things. There's like things before the race where sometimes they'll have like one of the esports Gran Turismo guys will have their little face on the bottom at the start of the race, and you can click on him and he'll tell you like a couple lines about himself or where he's from, or like my dad had a couple of Chevys or something like that.
But really, no VO.
But no VO
Wow.
for like the main like tutorial character that takes you through everything. No VO for the shop owner, the cafe owner, which I would love to
That
have
seems
that
weird.
personality. Yeah,
That seems really weird, especially for like the main thing.
yeah. So that makes it feel a little bit more sterile for sure. And then the other thing that I think that is a little bit of a downside with the cafe for people that are more familiar, or for people that just want to jump into something specific like getting online, you've got to do those cafe missions to unlock the other features in
really?
the game. Like other parts of the map, they do not
Wow.
unlock until you get to that part.
Really make you play by its rules.
Yeah,
They're like-
and when you unlock something now, there's typically a lot more things there to do. But like I couldn't, the first multiplayer session they had, like I couldn't because I didn't have enough time to play the game yet.
Interesting. This whole like, it's like very bold. It seems like their decision making of making you do all these things. Like I don't know a lot about car games or anything like that, but you have to unlock a lot of things to do it first, and like I don't know how long it takes to even unlock multiplayer. You know?
Yeah, I would say it takes a couple hours before your
Jeez.
multiplayer unlocks. You know, you've really got to like get into some of the other things.
But as a long term, or someone who's been playing racing games for a long time and a lot of experience, does it bother you?
I think it would be situational, right? Like if there was like something where you grab the game to play with your friends one
Online,
night,
yeah.
and it's like, well, you gotta
unlock the
grind out
stuff.
some missions first,
Okay.
and hop through things rather than taking at your own pace. That could be annoying, yeah.
Yeah.
The other super annoying thing is this game is inexplicably online only.
Strange.
So I even have like some shots because they did server maintenance the other night.
Yeah.
And they warn you. They warn you ahead of time. They put a little thing up, before.
Time,
like
yeah.
they had like a week before. And then while you're playing, there are these little messages that pop up like 30 minutes server maintenance, 5 minutes server maintenance, 1 minute server maintenance. But then once that happened and I was offline,
Couldn't play?
couldn't save. You can play like basically like quick pickup races, but it doesn't even save your progress. It will not nothing about progress functions when you're offline.
That seems so weird and unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like I know so many games are online now and it's like pretty normal, but it just seems like kind of weird when it doesn't feel necessary, I guess.
Yeah. Well, like Forza Horizon 5, right? Like that's a game that's like about playing in a big open sandbox with other people.
Yeah.
And it will go offline and online, especially when they're having issues when the game first launched. And you really wouldn't notice.
Sure, yeah.
It's like the players would get replaced by drivatars and like no big deal. You just kept playing the game.
Yeah.
So it was just like really weird to have this experience where it's like, well, the game's offline for the next 3 hours. I guess I won't play it right now.
Yeah, that's really weird. Don't think I like that.
And just the fact that like I can't even play, like it'd be annoying enough if like I could play and like it wouldn't save progress, but it's like no, all of this stuff is just grayed out. I cannot click on it.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. Was GT Sport like that? Do you remember?
I mean, I don't remember if like the license tests and stuff were like that. GT Sport was a little bit more focused about playing with other people. And sport mode is part of the online now. I've had a really weird time trying to play ahead of time because a lot of what's the sport mode specifically is you are competing in sort of like these daily events that are set up like at a specific time. So it's like you have to like make the appointment to go in and compete in this event. And so they've only had a couple of those during this week. And so the past couple of days I've been trying to hop in. But then even when I hopped in, I was like, oh, there's nobody here. Oh, no. Like I got a race with like 5 people and a race with like 6 people out of like 16 possible on the grid. And so I don't have a really strong feel for, I feel like it's essentially the same as what you'd expect if you've been playing GT Sport.
Okay.
I like that part of the process is there's qualifying session And so based on your qualifying time, that's where you're going to be on the grid when the race starts. So there's really good incentive to get in there and practice and learn the track. There's also, in addition to like your driving skill level, there's a sportsmanship level. So if you're bumping into people and stuff, it like really penalizes you.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, and knocks your sportsmanship down. And also it has like a clean racing bonus. And same thing with the campaign. Cool. If you race clean and you're not knocking around with people, and it'll forgive you for like some minor bumps and things. It'll give you like 50% more credits from the event.
Wow.
So
okay.
It's
That's a pretty good incentive.
Yeah, pretty good incentive there. I mentioned the license test, which I think is always a good thing for like new people. Like it really goes through and like teaches you like how to brake well and how to take turns well and all that stuff. But it also becomes sort of like this obsessive thing because
that's what I've heard.
They're very like, you know, like you've got to just nail it to get the gold medals. And I was 0.001 seconds away from the gold one time. I was like, I couldn't be closer. There's also, beyond the license test, there's a mission mode that unlocks later, which just seems sort of like an extension. There's like missions where like you have to like keep in people's slipstreams and like get up to a certain speed. There's missions where you have to like pass people like around this corner and like you have just barely enough time to pass all three of them. I did this one cool one where you're like racing Jeeps in the dark. That was pretty sweet.
That's cool.
It's the only dirt track I've done so far was that Jeep thing. And then Music Rally also kind of feels like it fits into that as well. And it's so funny because in the state of play, they're like, oh yeah, this is going to be like a relaxing way, you know, just chill with the music. It's like, this is not relaxing. Like, this Hungarian dance song is like very anxiety producing and it's super hard to hit these gold times.
That's funny.
They have did you know Idris Elba raps?
No.
There's a song with Idris Elba in it.
Okay.
Where they're rapping about cars. It's hilarious.
Right. Okay.
I'm sure it's a real song. I was just not aware of it before. That comes up to the other thing where like the difficulty can be kind of inconsistent. So when you have something like this where like they set up the parameters and they choose the car and like everything is nailed down, it can really push you. The more open it is, like the more hilariously easy it can be.
Oh, sure, you could use
because like I would just enter in some events that didn't have like a lot of restrictions on cars and just fly by everybody. And I even got a trophy once for being so far ahead of everyone. So like, well, it's because you didn't keep me from being ahead of everyone. Like you just let me go into this race.
Someone who's not
a completely different car.
That sounds kind of fun sometimes. I do like maybe how there's both, like the really more focused things. But I think it's kind of cool to cut loose every once in a while and let you use whatever.
Yeah, so it's just a little weird because sometimes it's like you'll just have a car that just does not fit in.
Yeah, sure.
With what you're competing against, and they do tend to have restrictions on certain things. But like you said, like sometimes there are a lot of restrictions. Sometimes they give you a car and you have to perform in that car, and then other times it's sort of left wide open, and they just sort of have like a recommended performance level, and then you have to like look at your cars and try to figure out like, okay, what fits that performance level and what doesn't. And then GT Sport, like the same thing. It's like you have to have a performance level that's below a certain amount and or fits within a certain racing guideline.
I have a few questions. So I found out there's used cars in this game.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with that? If you buy used cars, there's some sort of downside to that?
They do have mileage on them. There's this GT Auto Shop, which you don't have to do a whole lot. I think you'd have to drive a car quite a bit. But like over time, like your engine does wear down. Your oil does need to be changed. You do need to wash your car.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
So yeah, and then there's also certain things like some of the upgrades in the tuning shop. Like they say outright that like if you do this to your engine, like if you drill big holes in your engine to give it more performance, like you can't go back without completely like going there, like
that's
without
really
spending a
intense.
lot of money to swap your engine out with a fresh engine. So
that's kind of cool, actually. I like that. Two, so from what I've seen in this game, it looks beautiful. There's different times a day for the tracks. How are those feeling to you?
Yeah, so that stuff has felt pretty good. I think that, again, with it optimizing performance, there will be times still when you look at something in a replay and it's like, oh, like there should be like ambient occlusion or something on like the, or like these crowds can look like very noticeably stiff and that kind of thing, or things can look a little flat. But it's very much limited, I think, to when you're watching a replay.
Okay.
Compared to like
actually racing.
When you're racing, you're not really paying attention to that stuff. And so again, it's like it's about where it's focused to make sure that like the frame rate is just hitting. But like the rain effects are really good in terms of like how they feel, and like the dual sense stuff is pretty cool. To where, like, you feel the shifts in the controller really well. You feel when like something is on one side of the controller versus another. You feel puddles. There's like this Tokyo Expressway where there's like gaps in the concrete, and there's like a bump kind
That's really cool.
along the way. And yeah, so I'd say that like some of the like rain effects, so like F1 or whatever, does a little bit better, but yeah, it's all pretty good on that sense.
My final question is: so how's the driving feeling?
It's been feeling good. There's like a lot of different things. Like it does assists differently than like Forza or Codemasters games do and some other games. So you have to like sort of fiddle around and figure out like what actually works well for you. Like I think by default, like one of the braking assists like just flashes like up in your face. It's like, okay, I'll go for something that's a little bit more subtle and just like puts the zone on the ground. Or even if you turn it off, there's like a little like an indicator that says you need to go down a couple of gears, and it starts flashing at you. So there's just different ways of approaching that. There's also like you can go with the driving line, or you can just have like these little markers that like pin the apexes, which are nice.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
but as a legendary franchise, even like I know this is a legendary franchise, do you feel like the racing's holding up to the standard it set before?
Yeah, I mean, I have to put more time into, but I feel like it feels good. It feels
good.
Smooth.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I think that the AI has always been kind of a weakness, to where it doesn't really feel like you're competing against somebody.
Right.
I feel like sometimes some of the online stuff I've seen is a little weird, but again, because I'm seeing like the only people that are out there, like
it's not out to the public yet.
Yeah, maybe like I'm just seeing bad connections with another person.
It's possible.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds super interesting to me. I'm really honestly like a lot of the history stuff is kind of getting me interested in that stuff. Yeah. It's like such a I don't know anything about cars, but the idea of learning all this is so cool to me.
Yeah, there's a lot to dig into in a lot of different ways, and so I'm curious, just how like extensive the cafe thing goes, and then you're just kind of wide open to like to dig into what you like.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it out.
Yeah. So look forward to my review. Not sure exactly when I get done. It's just been crazy with having to cover for the podcast and all that, but thanks for tuning in with us today.
Review copy provided by PlayStation.